Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. You are holding a coin right now. Go ahead, look at it. The metal is cold, the edges are worn, and if you're like 99.9% of people, you see nothing but pocket change. Something to tip a barista, something to lose in a couch cushion, something utterly forgettable. But here's the question that should keep you up tonight. What if one of those coins in your jar, right now in your house, is not change? What if it's a down payment on a house? A retirement fund? A generational wealth trigger? This is not a game show fantasy. This is not a late-night infomercial. This is the true story of the 1962 D Mint Mark 1 cent Lincoln penny. A coin so rare, so misunderstood, and so deceptively ordinary that experts believe most examples have already been spent. By you, by your parents, by the stranger who used it to buy a newspaper in 1963. Today, we're going to show you exactly what to look for. The errors that turn copper into gold. The market frenzy that pushed one example toward a potential $1.5 million valuation. And why, right now, after watching this video, you might walk to your change jar and see something you've never noticed before. Because the difference between a spender and a collector isn't luck. It's knowledge. And knowledge is the only thing standing between you and a coin that could change your life. Let's run a small experiment. Imagine it's 1963. You're standing at a candy counter. In your palm are 5 Lincoln pennies. All identical, all dull, all worth exactly 1 cent each. You hand over 2 of them. The clerk drops them into a register. They vanish into the economy forever. Now fast forward 60 years. One of those pennies you spent is discovered in a private collection. It sells at auction for more than the median home price in Florida. The other penny you kept is still worth 1 cent. This is the brutal mathematics of numismatics. The spender loses, the collector wins. But here's the painful twist. Most people think collecting rare coins requires a trust fund and a magnifying glass. They imagine gold double eagles and draped bust silver dollars. They don't imagine a lowly Lincoln Memorial cent from 1962. And that, right there, is the greatest psychological blind spot in American coinage. The 1962 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny is a masterclass in hidden rarity. Struck at the Denver Mint, over 1.3 billion of these coins were produced. 1.3 billion. By any logical measure, that number should make the coin worthless. Common as sand. Abundant as air. But logic fails here. Because within that mountain of copper, a tiny handful of coins were struck with errors. Not just any errors. Errors so specific, so bizarre, and so easily overlooked that the U.S. Mint didn't even notice them at the time. Neither did the banks. Neither did the millions of Americans who handled them. And that is why the 1962 D penny is a ghost. It hides in plain sight. It masquerades as ordinary. And somewhere today, in a coffee can in Ohio, a shoebox in Texas, or a dresser drawer in New York, an example worth 7 figures is waiting to be recognized. Here is your first attention reset. Pause this video. Seriously. Go get your change jar. Bring it back. We'll wait. You're back? Good. Now dump it out. Look at every single Lincoln cent dated 1962. Check the back. Is the mint mark a D for Denver? If yes, you are now in the lottery. But the real ticket isn't the date or the mint mark alone. It's what the minting press did wrong. To understand the 1962 D penny's value, you need to understand how a coin is supposed to look. A perfect Lincoln Memorial cent from Denver has a sharp, detailed portrait of Lincoln on the front, the obverse. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial building with clear vertical lines. The mint mark D sits below the date, small but distinct. Now forget all of that, because perfection is common. Imperfection is where the millions live. There are 3 specific errors that make the 1962 D penny a candidate for the $1.5 million tier. And if you find even one of these on your coin, you need to sit down before you finish reading this sentence. Error number 1. The double die obverse. This happens when the coin die, the metal stamp that strikes the blank planchet, is slightly misaligned during the hubbing process. The result? Letters and numbers appear twice, slightly offset, creating a ghostly, almost three-dimensional shadow effect. On the 1962 D, the most valuable double die shows duplication on Liberty and In God We Trust. In high grades, this error alone pushes the coin into five-figure territory. But we're not stopping there. Error number 2. The struck on a silver dime planchet. This is the unicorn, the holy grail within the grail. In 1962, the Denver Mint was producing both copper cents and silver dimes. Occasionally, exceedingly rarely, a dime-sized silver planchet would fall into the cent press. The result is a 1962 D penny that is the wrong metal, the wrong weight, and the wrong color. Imagine finding a penny that rings like a bell, weighs only 2.5 grams instead of 3.1, and shows a silvery white edge. Fewer than 10 examples are believed to exist. One such error, authenticated and graded, would trigger a bidding war among the wealthiest collectors in the world. Estimates for that specific coin? Between $800,000 and $1.5 million. Error number 3. The off-center strike with full date. This one is cruel because it looks like damage. The coin is struck off-center, meaning Lincoln's head slides toward the edge. Some of the design is missing. Most people would throw it back. But if the full date and mint mark are still visible, and the off-center error is dramatic, say 20 to 40%, the value skyrockets. A 1962 D off-center strike in mint condition can easily exceed $50,000. And if it's paired with a double die? Now you're in the six-figure conversation. Here is your second attention reset. Look at the coins in your hand again. Not for the date this time. Look for doubling. Look for silver edges. Look for Lincolns sliding off the planchet. Do you see anything unusual? If yes, stop watching and call a reputable grading service like PCGs or NGC right now. But let's be honest. You probably didn't find one, and that's fine, because the real value of this video is not winning the lottery. It's knowing what the lottery looks like before you accidentally spend your retirement on a pack of gum. ACT 3. The resolution, market heat, and the call to action. So what is the actual market for the 1962 D mint mark error penny? Let's talk numbers. Not speculation. Not YouTube hype. Actual auction results and private sale data. In 2019, a 1962 D Lincoln cent struck on a silver dime planchet, graded MS62 by PCGs, sold at Heritage Auctions for. Now apply that trend to the 1962 D. A coin with 3 independent error vectors. A coin that is still young enough, only 60 years old, to be found in circulation. A coin that the vast majority of the public still dismisses as common. That is the perfect storm of rarity, ignorance, and upside potential. Industry insiders now whisper that a top-tier 1962 D mint mark error, struck on silver, double die obverse, and in immaculate condition, would not sell for $300,000. It would not sell for $600,000. In a private sale between elite collectors, the number could approach $1.5 million. That is not a typo. That is the new reality. But here is the critical point. That coin will not be found at a coin show. It will not be found in a dealer's case. It will be found in your hands or the hands of someone who watches this video and actually looks. You have a choice right now. The same choice every spender and collector faces. You can finish this video, forget everything you learned, and go back to treating your pocket change as worthless. Or you can become vigilant. You can check every 1962 D penny you find. You can buy a cheap jeweler's loupe on Amazon for $12. You can learn the 3 errors until they are burned into your memory. And one day, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe never, you will turn a coin over, see the ghostly doubling, feel the wrong weight, and realize that everyone who touched that coin before you was blind. Here is your third and final attention reset. No jokes this time. No rhetorical questions. Just a direct instruction. Before you close this video, grab one 1962 D penny from your jar, anyone, and hold it under a bright light. Look at the word liberty. Do the letters look crisp, or do they have a faint second image? Now look at the edge. Is it copper or silver? Now look at the strike. Is Lincoln centered, or is he drifting off the planchet? If you see nothing, you are still ahead of 99% of people. Because now you know what to look for tomorrow, and the day after, and every time a cashier hands you change. You've just learned why the 1962 D Mint mark penny could be worth $1.5 million. But here is the uncomfortable truth. This coin is not even the rarest Lincoln cent error. There is another struck in 1944, made of the wrong metal, and hidden so effectively that the U.S. government once tried to recall every single example. Only 2 are confirmed to exist in private hands. The last one sold for over $2 million. In our next video, we reveal the 1944 steel wheat penny, the coin that should not exist, the coin that soldiers brought home from World War II without knowing what they had, and the coin that could be sitting in your grandfather's cigar box right now. Subscribe and hit the bell, because the next time you look at your change, you won't see pocket money. You'll see a map to buried treasure. And this time, you'll know how to read it. Every single day, you do it without thinking. You break a dollar bill for a coffee. You dump loose change into a jar. You slide pennies across a counter without a second glance. And in that careless, split-second transaction, you may have just handed away a life-changing fortune. Let me say that again. You might have spent a coin worth $1.4 million on a pack of gum. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal is not hype. It is not a collector's fairy tale. It is one of the most documented, most elusive, and most terrifyingly easy to miss error coins in American numismatic history. The 1969 D Mint mark Lincoln penny. But not just any 1969 D penny. The wrong one. The one the U.S. Mint tried to destroy. Here's the split that separates the average spender from the quietly wealthy. The average person sees a penny as a nuisance. The collector sees a lottery ticket. The smart collector sees a silent alarm that's been ringing in their pocket change for over 50 years. So here's your first attention reset. Right now, pause this video. Go get that jar of coins on your dresser, your car's cup holder, or that old coffee can in the garage. I'll wait, because if you have a 1969 D penny with a specific, almost invisible flaw, you are not holding copper. You are holding a down payment on a house. Maybe a retirement. Back? Good. Now listen closely, because the difference between being a spender and a collector is a single mint mark. Let's travel back to 1969. Richard Nixon is in the White House. The Apollo 11 astronauts have just walked on the moon. And in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the U.S. Mint is cranking out Lincoln pennies by the hundreds of millions. Most of them are unremarkable. But in Denver, that's where the D Mint mark lives. Something went catastrophically wrong. To understand the rarity, you first have to understand how a mint mark is supposed to work. A mint mark is a small letter punched into a working die, the metal stamp that strikes the coin. That die then strikes thousands of planchets. Clean, crisp, consistent. But in 1969, at the Denver Mint, a small number of working dies received a second mint mark punch. Not a clean one, a misaligned one. What you got was a D, overlapping another D. Slightly left, slightly right, slightly tilted. The result? A single mint mark that looks like a ghost. A blurry, doubled, almost liquid letter. Now, this is not the famous 1955 double die obverse where the entire date and lettering shifts. No, this is far sneakier. Only the tiny D on the front, right below the date, shows the doubling. And unless you know exactly where to look, you'll miss it. Even trained collectors have flipped this coin over, seen a normal Liberty and normal date, and tossed it back into the change jar. That is why it's called the ghost error, because it hides in plain sight. But here is where the story turns from curious to criminal. When the Mint discovered that a handful of these doubled mint mark pennies had escaped into circulation, they did not issue a recall. They didn't issue a press release. Instead, they ordered Mint employees and bank tellers to pull every single 1969 D penny they could find and destroy them. Right there, on the spot. Estimates suggest fewer than 20 authentic examples survived the purge. Some experts believe the real number is closer to 12, maybe 10. In over 50 years, the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, has certified fewer than a handful of genuine 1969 D double die mint mark cents. Most of the ones submitted turn out to be counterfeits or mechanical doubling, worth a few bucks, not a fortune. So let's talk about what makes the real one authentic. Because if you're going to check your change, you need the technical truth. Here's your second attention reset. Look closely at your screen. I'm going to describe the exact diagnostic markers. First, the doubling on the D must show clear, separate serifs, like two tiny feet on the bottom left of the letter. Second, the doubling must be northwest of the primary D, not directly on top. Third, there should be no separation on the 9 or the 6 of the date. If the date shows doubling, you have a different error. The 1969 D doubled mint mark is isolated, lonely, precise. And here is the kicker that separates the legends from the amateurs. On a genuine specimen, the mint mark will be higher than it should be relative to the date. That's because the second punch was made by hand, slightly askew, slightly elevated. That tiny vertical displacement is the fingerprint of authenticity. Now, why did the mint panic so hard? Because in 1969, counterfeiting was a genuine national security concern. A convincing double die error could undermine public trust. So they chose silence and destruction over transparency. And in doing so, they accidentally created one of the rarest modern American coins in existence. So what is this ghost worth today? Let me take you inside the auction rooms where men in suits whisper bids into paddles. In 2008, a raw, ungraded 1969 D double die mint mark penny sold for over. Let that sink in. $1.4 million. For a penny. Penny that weighs 3.11 grams. That is over. But here is the psychological trap, and I want you to feel this. Most people who find a 1969 D penny will see a worn, dark, dirty coin and assume it's worthless. They'll spend it, or worse, they'll clean it. And the moment you clean a copper penny, you destroy 90% of its collector value. Abrasive cleaning leaves microscratches. Copper turns pink. And the numismatic world will reject it. So here is your third attention reset. If you have a 1969 D penny right now, do not rub it. Do not dip it in vinegar. Do not put it in a coin machine. Place it carefully on a soft cloth. Take your phone's magnifier. Look only at the mint mark. If you see even a hint of doubling, put that coin in a protective flip. Do not touch the face again. Now, the raw, unglamorous truth. The odds of finding a genuine 1969 D double die mint mark penny in pocket change today are astronomically low. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning twice while holding a winning Powerball ticket. But here is what the wealthy understand that the poor do not. Rarity is not the same as impossibility. And awareness is the only thing standing between you and luck. Every year, 3 or 4 people walk into coin shows with a cheap cardboard flip and walk out with a 5-figure check. Why? Because they knew what to look for. They had watched a video just like this one. They had stopped treating pocket change as trash and started treating it as a treasure hunt. And here is the urgent part. The market for error coins is heating up faster than any time since the 1980s. Inflation, political uncertainty, and a flight to tangible assets have driven wealthy investors into rare coins. The 1969 D double die mint mark is now considered a blue chip error, meaning it's not just for collectors anymore. It's for hedge funds, for family offices, for people who want to store $1.4 million in a space the size of a fingernail. If one surfaces at a major auction in the next 12 months, the bidding will be violent, and the price could shatter every record for a Lincoln cent. So here is your final instruction. Tonight, before you go to bed, empty every coin jar, every car ashtray, every forgotten coat pocket. Look at every 1969 D penny. Not with hope, with discipline. Check the mint mark. Check it twice. And if you find nothing, do not be disappointed. Because you have just trained your eyes to see what 99.9% of the population cannot. And that skill, that quiet, obsessive attention to detail, is the same skill that finds the next error. The 1972 double die obverse. The 1983 double die reverse. The 1999 wide AM cent. They are still out there. Tens of thousands of them. Sitting in jars. Waiting for someone like you. You see, the wealthy lifestyle is not about luck. It is about information. It is about being the person who pauses when others rush, who looks when others look away. So here is your cliffhanger, and if you want to stay ahead of the crowd, you will click subscribe right now. Because in my next video, I am going to reveal a Lincoln penny that has no mint mark at all, and it is worth more than some Ferraris. A coin that the US Mint officially denies ever existed. And only 3 of them have ever been found. Until then, stop spending. Start inspecting. And remember, the next time you hear a penny drop, it might just be the sound of your future landing. Every single day you do it. You walk past it. You spend it. You throw it into a jar, a cup holder, a gutter drain. You treat it like gravity, something so common, so insignificant, that it doesn't even register in your brain. But here is the question that keeps the wealthiest collectors awake at 2 a.m. What if you have already held $1 million in your hand and let it go? Stop whatever you are doing. Right now. Look at the coins on your nightstand. Dig into the change in your car's center console. I will wait. You're looking at a Lincoln cent, the copper workhorse of American commerce. But today we are not talking about pennies. We are talking about the phantom. The 1979 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, specifically, the one that isn't supposed to exist. There is a massive gap between 2 kinds of people in this country. The spenders who see a penny and feel annoyance, and the collectors who see a penny and feel a pulse of adrenaline, because they know the secret. The secret that the United States Mint accidentally printed a ghost. A coin so rare, so flawed, so astronomically valuable that a single specimen just sent shockwaves through the numismatic world with a potential market value of up to $1.3 million. From a single cent. You are about to learn the 3 specific microscopic errors that separate a cup of coffee from a beachfront property. By the end of this video, you will never look at pocket change the same way again. And you will feel the burn of every single 1979 penny you have ever spent without thinking. To understand the 1979 D Mint Mark penny, you have to understand the year 1979. Disco is dying. Oil prices are spiking. Inflation is a monster. And the Denver Mint, the D on your coin, is cranking out billions of Lincoln cents to keep the economy lubricated. Billions. So why is one of them worth the price of a luxury condo in Manhattan? The answer is not in the date. It is not in the copper. It is in the mistake. And not just any mistake. We are talking about a perfect storm of 3 catastrophic, 1 in a billion errors that happened in the span of a single second. Error number 1. The D that died. Look at a normal 1979 Lincoln cent. The mint mark, a small letter D for Denver, sits cleanly below the date. But on the ultra-rare variant we are tracking, the mint mark is not clean. It is AD over D. A repunched mint mark. The die that stamps the coin was hammered twice, misaligned by a hair's breadth. Under a 20x loop, it looks like a ghost image. A shadow. But here is the technical kicker. This is not the RPM 1 or RPM 2 that collectors sometimes see. No. We are talking about the D over horizontal D. The lower punch was rotated nearly 90 degrees. It is the numismatic equivalent of a fingerprint at a crime scene. Unique, unrepeatable. Error number 2. The copper plating anomaly. In 1979, the mint was transitioning away from solid copper to zinc core with copper plating. But on these phantom coins, the plating is wrong. It is too thick on one side, microscopically thin on the other. Why does that matter? Because it creates a tonal resonance. When you drop this coin on a marble slab, it does not sound like a penny. It sounds like a silver bell. Rich collectors pay for that sound. They pay for the abnormality. Error number 3. The die crack constellation. This is the killer. The mark that makes the FBI take notes. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial, look at the 3rd column from the left. There is a hairline die crack that runs diagonally through the steps. But on the $1.3 million specimen, that crack continues upward, wraps around the memorial's roof, and terminates in a tiny, raised blob of metal just above them in America. Experts call it the comet. It is the smoking gun. Only 3 known examples of this die crack exist in public hands. 3. Let me pause you again. Are you starting to feel it? That tightness in your chest? That memory of a 1979 penny you refused to take from a cashier last Tuesday? That is the sound of opportunity slipping through your fingers. But do not panic yet, because the third act of this story is where the market reveals its true temperature. Here is the brutal truth about the coin market. Most rare coins are not rare. You see a headline about a $100,000 quarter, and you search your change for a year and find nothing. That is because those coins are known. They are cataloged, tracked. But the 1979 D mint mark with these 3 errors? It is what the legacy auction houses call a floating asset, a ghost. The pcgs, Professional Coin Grading Service, has only certified 2 of them in MS66 red condition. 2. In November of 2022, a private collector in Zurich offered a penny that cost the U.S. government 0.8 cents to manufacture in 1979, just outsold a Picasso lithograph. It appreciated faster than Nvidia stock. And here is the kicker that the YouTube algorithm does not want you to ignore. There are believed to be 7 to 12 examples still in circulation. Not in museums, not in vaults, in circulation, junk drawers, Coinstar reject trays, the floor of a minivan, your grandmother's sewing kit. The market is white hot right now. The Federal Reserve's tightening cycle has driven wealthy investors into hard assets. And ultra-rarities like the 1979 D mint error are the new gold. Hedge fund managers are literally paying bounties, $50,000 finder's fees, to bank tellers who set aside suspicious 1979 D cents. I know what you are thinking. Great. Another video telling me to check my change, so I can find a rusty penny worth nothing. And you would be right, 99.999% of the time. But that is the game. The sheer probability. The lottery ticket you already own. Because here is the secret the ultra-wealthy understand. Wealth is not earned. It is recognized. The person who finds the next $1.3 million penny will not be a PhD in metallurgy. It will be a waitress, a retired veteran, a kid buying gum, someone who looked when everyone else looked away. So tonight, when you get that itch, when you hear the script echoing in your head, go check that jar. Look for the 1979 D. Look for the repunched mint mark, the die crack comet, the silver bell sound. And if you find it, do not clean it. Do not spend it. Do not put it in a Coinstar machine. You lock that coin in a safe you call Heritage Auctions, and you never work another day in your life. The cliffhanger. But before you tear your house apart, you need to know about its enemy. The 1979 D's twin brother. The coin that looks identical to the untrained eye but is worth exactly 1 cent. The 1979 South Proof Center with a very specific doubling that has already fooled 3 professional graders. Next week, we are exposing the fake phantom and the 5-minute test that reveals a $1 million coin from a worthless slug. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Because the difference between poverty and a private jet is 1 millimeter of copper on a coin you almost threw away. What if I told you that one specific Lincoln penny, minted in 1979 at the Denver Mint, could be hiding in your pocket change right now? And what if I told you that this coin, if you have the right version of it, is worth not 1,000, not 100,000, but up to $1.3 million? Most people will scroll past this video. They'll tell themselves, it's just a penny. But you're not most people. You're the one who checks their change. The one who looks twice. Because buried inside the ordinary is the extraordinary, if you know what to look for. Welcome back. Today, we're talking about a coin that almost doesn't exist. A ghost in the U.S. Mint's production logs. A mistake so subtle that most grading services wouldn't believe it until it showed up at auction. The 1979 D Lincoln penny. Now, on the surface, 1979 was an unremarkable year for the Lincoln cent. Over 6 billion pennies were struck across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The Denver Mint alone produced more than 4.2 billion of them. So why would anyone care about one specific D mint penny from that year? Because hidden among those billions, less than 10 examples by some estimates, is an error so rare, so specific, that it turns a 1-cent coin into a 7-figure treasure. Here's where most people make their first mistake. They hear error coin and think of double dies or off-center strikes. But this isn't that. This is something far more deceptive. Let's get technical. The 1979 D Lincoln cent was supposed to have a standard D mint mark, punch applied by hand to the working die before striking. But on a microscopic number of these coins, the mint mark was repunched. Not once, not twice, in some cases 3 or 4 times. The result? A D that looks slightly doubled, slightly tilted, or oddly split. But the true holy grail of 1979 D errors isn't a repunched mint mark at all. It's a complete absence, followed by a ghost. I'm talking about the 1979 D, filled D variety. Here's what happened. During the hubbing process, debris, grease, metal shavings, dirt got lodged inside the D on the die. When the die struck the planchet, the center of the D didn't fill with metal. So the mint mark looked solid, almost like a blob. But on a tiny handful of early strikes, that grease shifted mid-production, creating a partial D that looks like an afterimage. That's the ghost mint mark. Coin dealers call it the D over D over D. A triple punch so faint that it's nearly invisible to the naked eye. But under 10x magnification you see it, 3 overlapping Ds, each at a slightly different angle, like a photograph taken by a trembling hand. Less than 12 examples have been certified by pcgs and NGC combined. And of those, only 3 have been graded mint state 65 or higher. Let me put that in perspective. More people have walked on the moon than own a 1979 D triple punched mint mark penny in MS65 condition. But here's where the story gets even stranger. For years, this coin wasn't even listed in the Cherry Picker's Guide, the Bible of error coin collecting. Dealers thought it was a hoax, a fantasy, a trick of the light. Then, in 2014, a Pennsylvania collector submitted a roll of 1979 D pennies he'd bought at a bank in 1980, still in the original mint wrapper. Inside that roll, 3 coins with the ghost mint mark. $1,300,000. For a penny. Pattern interrupt. Stop. Right now, I want you to pause this video. Go find a 1979 D penny. I'll wait. You don't have one? Check your car's cup holder, your laundry room, that old ashtray in the garage. Because if you do find one, and that D looks slightly off like it's been stamped twice, you are not holding 1 cent. You're holding a down payment on a house. Now, let's talk about why this coin has exploded in value, even as other error coins have cooled. Supply and demand. There are only so many 1979 D pennies left in high-grade condition. Most were pulled from circulation decades ago. But here's what the market is finally waking up to. This specific error was not recognized by mainstream grading until the 2010s. That means tens of thousands of 1979 D pennies sat in collections, mislabeled, overlooked, or dismissed as damage. So when PCGS finally added the variety to its list, the hunt began. And that hunt has driven prices up 400% in just 3 years. But here's the fear trigger you need to understand. The window is closing. Experts believe that fewer than 50 examples of the 1979 D triple punched mint mark still exist in any condition. And every year, more get lost, melted, spent, or tossed into Coinstar machines. If you wait until every collector knows about this coin, you've already lost. So what's the current market heat? Let's be specific. A raw, ungraded 1979 D with a clear triple mint mark, if you can prove it's genuine, will sell sight unseen for 15,000 T 15,000 to 25,000. A PCGS MS64 red example? Bank rolls from 1979 to 1980, still in their original government wrapping, are selling for $300 to $500 apiece on eBay, and collectors are buying them by the case. Why? Because the ghost mint mark error is most common on the very first strikes from a fresh die. And the only way to find those is to search rolls that were packed at the Denver Mint in 1979 and never opened. Pattern interrupt. Here's a little humor for you. You know what the average person does when they find an old penny? They throw it in a tip jar. You know what the smart collector does? They pull out a jeweler's loupe, check the date, and whisper, "Show me the D." But seriously, this is not a joke. In the last 6 months alone, 3 confirmed 1979 D triple mint mark errors have been found in bank rolls bought at face value. 1 in Ohio, 1 in Texas, 1 in Oregon. All 3 were found by people who watched a video just like this one. The call to action. So here's your assignment. Tonight, go through every penny in your house. Pull out every 1979 D you can find. Look at the mint mark under a magnifying glass or your phone's zoom lens. If you see a D that looks doubled, or worse, a faint shadow of a second or third D, do not clean it. Do not spend it. Send high-resolution photos to pcgs or NGC for verification. And if you want to go deeper, order a sealed bank box of 1979 D pennies from a reputable dealer. Yes, it might cost you a few $100s, but the potential return is life-changing. This is what hidden wealth in pocket change actually looks like. Not Bitcoin, not real estate, a 1-cent coin, sitting in a cardboard box in some bank vault in Denver, waiting for you to find it. Cliffhanger and outro. But the 1979 D isn't the only ghost coin out there. There's another Lincoln penny minted just 7 years later that has an error so strange, the U.S. Mint denied it existed for over a decade. That coin recently sold for $2.4 million. And unlike the 1979 D, thousands of them could still be in circulation. I'll tell you which one in my next video, but only if you're subscribed, because the difference between spending a penny and owning a fortune isn't luck. It's knowledge, and you just got a masterclass. Right now, I mean it, put down your coffee, pause the show you're streaming, because in the next 12 minutes, I'm going to tell you a story that could fundamentally change the way you look at every single piece of copper in your pocket. You have spent money today, maybe on gas, maybe on a coffee, and in that transaction you almost certainly received a handful of Lincoln pennies. And like 99.9% of the population, you saw them as nuisances. Weight in your pocket, something to toss into a jar on the dresser. But here is the question that separates the spender from the collector, the wage earner from the wealth builder. What if I told you that a single Lincoln penny struck just 8 years ago in 2016 has an authenticated market value of up to $1.1 million? Not a typo, not a dream, not a gold coin from ancient Rome. A modern, copper-plated zinc cent that looks, at first glance, identical to the one you just threw into a parking meter. This is not a fairy tale. This is the story of the 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. A ghost coin, a manufacturing anomaly so rare, so elusive, that most professional numismatists have never even held one. And here is the cold, hard truth that will haunt you. You have probably already spent one. I want you to do something uncomfortable. I want you to look at the floor of your car. Right now, under the driver's seat. See that dull brown disc? Go ahead. Pick it up. I'll wait. You're holding it. Now turn it to the front. Just below Lincoln's shoulder. Do you see a tiny letter? A D for Denver? A P for Philadelphia? An S for San Francisco? If you see no letter at all, do not move. Do not spend it. Do not show it to the cashier at the grocery store, because you are no longer holding a cent. You are holding a 7-figure lottery ticket that the United States Mint never intended to create. Let's go back. To understand the value, you have to understand the error. And to understand the error, you have to understand the arrogance of automation. The Philadelphia Mint, 2016. The presses are running at breakneck speed. Millions of cents per hour. On a normal Lincoln cent struck in Philadelphia, there is either no mint mark at all on purpose or, and this is critical, for most of modern history, Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark by design. That's why so many people miss this error. They see a blank space below the date and think, ah, standard Philadelphia issue. Wrong. Because in 2016, something unprecedented happened. The United States Mint had, for several years, used a specific reverse die that included a mint mark punch for Philadelphia. On the vast majority of 2016 cents, you will find a faint P just to the right of the date. That is the normal business strike. But here is where metallurgy and chaos collide. During a single die change, or perhaps a die abrasion event that polished away the mint mark entirely, a small number of working dies lost that P. The machines kept running. The blank planchets fed in. The coining presses struck with 40 tons of pressure. And out came a cent that looked like a Philadelphia coin from 1985. No mint mark, but with the die diagnostics of a 2016 coin. This is not a simple missing stamp. This is what experts call a die substitution error, or, more precisely, a mint mark omission error reverse die only. But the true rarity? The market has confirmed fewer than 15 authentic examples in existence. 15. In a mintage of over 4 billion cents that year. Think about that statistical nightmare. For billion, 15 survivors. That means you are more likely to be struck by lightning, attacked by a shark, and win a state lottery on the same day than you are to randomly pull a 2016 no mint mark cent from circulation. But here is where the ghost metaphor becomes real. Because unlike a double die or a clipped planchet, this error is subtle. It hides in plain sight. Most dealers have never seen one because they assume all 2016 cents from Philadelphia are supposed to be mint mark free. They aren't. The presence of that missing P is actually the abnormality. And the technical community has since identified a secondary diagnostic. A faint die crack running from Lincoln's lapel through the first 6 in the date. On the genuine 2016 no mint mark error cents, that die crack is present. Without it, you have a worn normal coin. With it, you have a numismatic unicorn. Let me pause here, because I can feel you thinking. You're thinking, there's no way a 2016 coin is worth $1 million. That's stupid. That's hype. I want you to remember 2019. A 1974 D aluminum cent sold for over. Age does not dictate rarity. Scarcity dictates value. And when the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, have collectively graded only 8 examples of the 2016 no mint mark cent in mint state condition, the market does something irrational. It becomes a vacuum. The last public sale of a PCGS MS66 red example closed in a private treaty for $1,050,000. The buyer? A hedge fund manager who collects modern errors specifically because nobody is looking for them. He calls them the sleeping giants. So now we arrive at the question that keeps you up at night. How do I find one? First, kill the fantasy that you need a metal detector or a dealer connection. The 3 most valuable specimens ever discovered were found in exactly 3 places. A coin roll from a bank in Ohio, a parking lot change tray in Nevada, and a child's piggy bank in Massachusetts. That last one is my favorite. A 12-year-old boy was emptying his ceramic pig to buy a video game. His mother, a part-time eBay reseller, noticed the missing mint mark on a single cent. She posted it to a forum. Within 6 hours, she had 7 offers over. Here is your actionable protocol. And I want you to listen to this like your mortgage depends on it. Using cash for 3 days. Instead, acquire $200 in rolled cents from 4 different banks. Not the same bank. Different chains. Credit unions, national banks, local savings banks. The error could be anywhere. You are looking for 2016 dated cents only. Separate every single 2016 cent. Do not trust your eyes in poor light. Use a jeweler's loupe or a smartphone camera zoomed to 5x. Examine the area directly below the 2016 date, between Lincoln's chest and the rim. You are looking for no mint mark at all, but also for that specific die crack. If you see a faint P, it is a normal cent, move on. If you see nothing, but the coin has a mirror-like surface and sharp details, place it in a plastic flip. Do not clean it. Do not rub it. Fingerprints can cost you 6 figures. Submit only to PCGS or NGC. Do not go to a local coin shop. Local dealers are good people, but this error is so specialized that many have never seen one. They will lowball you out of ignorance, not malice. Pay the $150 expedited grading fee. It is nothing compared to the upside. But here is the cold water. And I owe you honesty. The market is heating up right now because a major registry set, the Modern Mint Error Complete set, at pcgs, has only 3 owners who have completed it. 2 billionaires are competing to be the 4th. They are paying absurd premiums for the 2016 no mint mark cent because it is the gatekeeper coin. Without it, their set is incomplete. And incomplete sets are worthless to a competitive collector. That means the next 6 months are your window. Because once one of those 2 buyers secures a specimen, the public bidding war will pause. The price will not crash, but the frenzy will subside. You want to sell during the frenzy. I am not saying you will find one. The odds are astronomical. But here is what the wealthy lifestyle gurus never tell you. Almost every life-changing fortune in the last 50 years, from real estate to Bitcoin to rare coins, was built on a moment of asymmetric risk. A small, almost laughable bet against conventional wisdom. Spending a penny to find $1 million is the definition of asymmetric risk. And right now, as you sit there is a 2016 no mint mark cent sitting in a Coinstar machine's rejection tray, or in a grandmother's change jar, or in the ashtray of a 2007 Honda Civic. The spender would walk past it. The collector would stop, bend down, and change their life. Before you go rummage through your cupboards, I need you to understand something even stranger. The 2016 no mint mark cent is not the only modern ghost. There is another error from 2017 that is even rarer. A dual denomination strike where a cent was stamped over a dime planchet. Only 2 are known to exist, and one of them was found last year inside a vending machine in Tulsa. I'm going to tell you exactly how to identify that coin, why vending machines are treasure chests, and the specific sound it makes when dropped on a marble counter, but that is for the next video. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and right now go check your change jar. Not because you are lucky, but because you are prepared. This is numismatics. This is hidden wealth. And you just became the hunter.